You're watching CBS News Los Angeles, The Rundown.
Hello, I'm Juan Fernandez. Here's a look at your top stories. We're on storm watch this afternoon. Take a look. The heavy rains are gone, but they did leave behind some damage. In Torrance, crews are cleaning up after this tree toppled over. This happened on Sepulveda between Maple and Hickory. Today in San Diego, severe rain has led to some flooding, as you can see here. This happening in the Mountain View neighborhood. Dozens of cars were submerged in floodwaters, and people were walking through knee-high water in the street. Let's turn things over now to KCAL meteorologist Olga Ospina with your next weather forecast. Olga, what's next?
Yeah, hi, Juan. You know, we have seen some incredible scenes today, and we had a lot of rain overnight into the early part of Monday. We continue seeing some pockets of heavy rain. We have had thunderstorm activity, some lightning strikes in the last couple of hours. And take a look, that storm keeps pushing through across Southern California. Want to zoom into some of those problem spots. We're still seeing some moderate to heavy rain through parts of Ventura County near Thousand Oaks and Camarillo. As we head a little bit further east into the Antelope Valley, seeing some pockets of heavy rain cells, and also near the San Gabriels along the 210 freeway. Glendora seeing some very heavy rain currently. And then as we head towards the Inland Empire, look at this band of very heavy rain pushing through Mira Loma along the 15 freeway. That's going to continue to push it off to the east, and up in the mountains we are seeing some snow for those higher elevations. So resorts getting several more inches of snow as we head into the next few hours. Let's take a look at our futurecast. As we head into the next hour, 4:30, we're starting to see more of a break in the rain, and we'll continue to see that rain taper off as we head into later tonight. Still some minimal impacts as we head into that commute hour this evening. Still some rain across parts of the San Fernando Valley into the Antelope Valley, but a lot of us seeing some drier conditions. We'll continue to see that for a lot of us as we head into the 7 o'clock hour for LA, Ventura. We're looking drier, but still some impacts across higher elevations. And again, that rain tapers off as we head into late tonight. And Tuesday, we are left with much drier conditions. But flooding is a big concern. In fact, we do remain still under a flood watch for much of the Inland Empire into Orange County as well. And that's going to continue into late tonight and into the early part of Tuesday. Along the coastline, not exactly beach weather, but just be aware, high surf is going to continue to impact our beaches, especially Ventura County. 4 to 7 foot surf, dangerous rip currents, and this is going to start up early on Tuesday, continuing at least until Wednesday afternoon. So let's talk about what is next in our forecast. Some changes as we head into the next few days. We're going to be drying out already by tomorrow, and then we have this ridge of high pressure that's going to be building in right behind this storm that's going to be impacting Northern California into parts of the Central Coast. We have a slight chance of getting a few showers for the mountains of Ventura County, but really most of us will remain dry, and we will remain warm as we head towards the middle end of the week as high pressure starts building in. Potentially, we could even be talking about some Santa Ana winds over the weekend. And look at this nice warm up. We are back into the mid to upper 70s by the weekend and into the early part of next week. Juan.
What a change. All right, Olga, thank you. Well, cleanup has just begun as the heavy rains moves out. KCAL News reporter Luz Delia Caballero is in Woodland Hills where a tree toppled onto a car.
It's been raining on and off here at Woodland Hills, and the result of that, toppled trees, and this one causing significant damage here in the Woodland Hills area. As you can see, this tree is going absolutely nowhere. Take a look at this. I mean, smashing the glass, falling on this car, and it's been like this since at least 6 o'clock in the morning. That's the owner right there. She tells me that fortunately nobody was in the car at the time that this tree came barreling down, crashing into her car. But folks here in this neighborhood tell me that it's no surprise that a tree like this has come down, because recently on city property, homeowners have been renovating on strips like this one. This strip, let me show you, actually has some rubber on it and some lining, and residents say that this may be the cause of why there isn't proper irrigation. We've reached out to the city on that point and also on the cleanup. They say that they are now aware of this situation. They're looking into whether or not these trees are being properly watered. So as of now, it could take several hours before this tree is really cleaned up. And the owner of this car tells me that it really has at this point turned into an insurance nightmare because she cannot move forward with her insurance until this tree is no longer on top of her car. And according to the city, that could take several hours. And depending on how many emergencies are reported on roadways like this one, it could take more than a day. So stay with KCAL. We'll stay on top of this as we dig deeper into why these trees are coming down and, of course, the cleanup efforts.
All right, Luz Delia, thank you very much. Now to this, voters go to the polls in New Hampshire tomorrow for the first in the nation primary. The race for the Republican presidential nomination is between former President Donald Trump and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Now, there is new concern about artificial intelligence in all this after a fake robocall of President Biden told New Hampshire voters not to vote. Listen.
Voting this Tuesday only enables the Republicans in their quest to elect Donald Trump again. Your vote makes a difference in November, not this Tuesday.
Well, it sounds pretty legit, right? Here now to talk about these cybersecurity issues is Tony Sabai with Checkpoint Software Technologies. Tony, thanks so much for being with us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
Tony, first up, why should people be concerned with an incident like this? And do you see more of these types of messages or images popping up ahead of the November election?
Yeah, just based on the short clip of the robocall you played, it does sound very convincing. I think everybody can probably recognize President Biden's voice, and that did sound very legitimate, and it did sound like President Biden. And the scary thing is it's really easy to create these types of deep fakes, both audio and video, with very little or low cost software and hardware, and very little what we call training data of actual video and audio of an individual to be able to spoof them. And obviously there's tons of audio and video of President Biden and former President Trump out there on the internet to be able to train these different AI engines to create deep fakes to say really essentially anything that you want.
And Tony, as we've been saying, it sounds so legit, it sounds so real, especially at first glance, at first listen. What do people need to look out for to protect themselves?
So for the average person getting these robocalls or maybe seeing, a video, it's very difficult for an individual to determine whether it's AI generated or some type of deep fake. Now, a lot of it just has to come down to common sense. There's really no reason for President Biden to record a robocall telling people not to vote. I know there's been some consternation between the Democratic National Party and order of primaries and people telling people not to vote and do write-in candidates because Biden's not on the ballot for this, primary for a variety of, legal reasons. But you really have to use common sense as a bearing to see if this stuff is real and really look at the source. Some of it comes down to our broadcast media, organizations like yourself. Will vet these things out and decide whether and find out if they're legitimate or not. But if you're seeing things on Twitter or X or Facebook or any online social media, anybody can post these with no vetting of information. So you have to look at the content and you have to look at the source and be able to trust that source of that information.
Yeah, that's scary because, I tell the seniors in my family to be weary of everything, not to pick up the phone if they don't recognize the caller ID, to not answer certain questions on the phone. So if you're weary of everything, again, you use common sense, but it's tough, right? I mean, you see something like this, you hear something like this, you could actually be fooled to believe it's true, right?
Absolutely, and they're very convincing, and it's very difficult to find out whether it's AI generated or not. Now, I can pick up some, weird cadence and some, very abrupt ending of sentences, but that could also be, done in editing. I mean, you guys edit videos all the time and, cut things off to speed things up, and they're legitimate. But, there's some telltale signs, but, for not even the average person, even for a technology expert, they're almost impossible, especially with audio, to find out if they're deep fakes or not.
All right, we've talked about some of the negative aspects of all this. Can AI, though, actually prove to be helpful for the campaigns?
So from a campaign organizational standpoint, I mean, AI is being used to decide which voters to reach out to create content. So there's a lot of good uses of AI, even if it's AI generated content, whether it's video or audio. It could still be valid information. It just could be AI generated. But these types of this is essentially fraud. This is someone trying to suppress voter information and voter turnout. The legality of it, is a little bit up in the air too, as far as how legal this stuff is and whether there's any retribution. A lot of times it's very difficult to find the perpetrators of this, and sometimes they're being done from outside of the U.S. So there's really not a lot of recourse with the technology that's out there today. I can robocall from anywhere in the world to anywhere else in the world. So, but AI can be used for good. It can be used to generate content. It can be used to generate better messaging. We use AI, all the time for not just good in cybersecurity, but just to make our lives easier. So there's a lot of good uses of AI, but there's also the ability to do a lot of fraud and really just put out misinformation. It's not just robocalls and videos, but it could be ballot stuffing, fake videos or pictures that you put on the internet and post on social media to say, hey, look, there's election fraud. Look, there's somebody stealing ballots, and you could create AI photos to do that.
Right. Well, Tony, let's hope people are going to be using AI for good, and I'm sure we're going to be talking to you again down the line, because there isn't a week here in the newsroom that AI isn't part of the conversation at some point. So thanks again for your time, Tony.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Moving on here, a massive illegal fireworks show over downtown L.A. KCAL News reporter Amanda Starantino has the latest on the investigation for us this afternoon.
I'm Amanda Starantino in downtown LA, and what you're looking at right here, what's left over, some crazy fireworks show that happened last night in this parking lot on the corner of Alameda and Temple, actually right across from a federal building right there. And police are just trying to figure out what happened here. So they're coming back, they're investigating to see some more of the debris that's left behind right here of this illegal show that happened for at least 5 minutes. It woke up all the neighbors here around 10:30, 11 last night, and the videos are unbelievable of this fireworks show that seems to be deliberate and planned, but no one knows who did it or why. So we're looking into that. Police investigating now. I talked to them, I talked to neighbors to figure out what exactly this was, but the videos are just unbelievable to think that this just happened out of the blue. We're gonna have that coming up on KCAL.
All right, Amanda, thank you. This has been CBS News Los Angeles, The Rundown. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Juan Fernandez. We'll be back live at 4 right here on CBS News Los Angeles.